Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
Yay, welcome back. Hello.
Thank you. Today, we have the beautiful Tami with us,
Yay.
and we are going to have an amazing conversation with her about numerology, which I'm so excited about because I did not let you guys know this, but I've been looking at some numerologists because it's come into my awareness, and I've been wanting to get into that, learn more about it, and of course, interview somebody about it. So I am super stoked to have you here, Tami. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Tami, I didn't ask you before. What part of the country are you in? I mean, are you in America, first of all?
Yeah, I'm in
Okay.
America.
Okay.
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, I bet you it's nice and warm there.
It's so warm here.
Shut the front door. You're in Austin. We did
Yeah.
not ask. Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I just left Texas.
Yeah, I love Texas. It's amazing
Oh,
here.
lovely.
So,
I like Austin.
Lovely.
I know
yeah.
the traffic keeps a lot of people out these days, though.
I mean, I work from home, so who cares?
Right, right.
Like,
Yes,
I don't
yes.
I don't really deal with the traffic too much. So, it's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. When you get the option to work from home, it's not terrible. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. But
Yeah, of course, I don't
yeah.
leave my house, so that's probably a problem, you know?
I do the same thing. I have work pajamas and then after work
Yeah,
pajamas.
I
So,
get dressed every day, but I don't leave the house for, like, 2 weeks at a time sometimes, and my daughter will look at Life 360 and she'll go, "Mom, you've not even gone anywhere in 2 weeks." And I'm like, "I mean, I've gone outside, a little,
hey, that's something.
but yeah, it's probably a problem,
Wow.
but I do
Wow.
work a lot, so,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. So
I
I
I
most
guess I'm sorry, go ahead, Ronnie.
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of work, so let's tell us about what all you do. Speaking of all this working from home.
Of course. So I am a numerologist. I call my type of numerology cosmic ascended numerology. It's a different form of numerology than you might be used to. In fact, I can't actually find this form anywhere. So I don't actually know where it comes from. So I did eventually name it because I never knew what to call it. And when I started classes and I started certifying people in it, I didn't know what to call it. So I was just like, we were calling it intuitive numerology, but that wasn't enough. So cosmic ascended numerology makes more sense because we also found out that we're working with the ascended masters when we do it, or at least, we're working with Merlin and Saint Germain, and who's like apparently the same incarnation. Okay, like it's like Saint Germain is like maybe the oversoul is what people told me, and then Merlin is one of his incarnations. That's what we were told. But
Really?
yeah, but
That
specifically
makes
Merlin.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
specifically Merlin came and talked to each one of my students. I think almost all of them so far. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is
Oh.
so cool.
So
yeah,
if you had to say, if you had to define numerology, like I said, all I know is you add up numbers and then they tell you something. How would
yeah.
you how would you define it? Like give us a little.
Yeah, of course. So it took me a long time to be able to define it. I've been doing this for 20 years now. This is my 20th year. And
Congrats!
thank you. um, so um, so yeah, I've gone through all different ways to define it, but I finally settled on this one like spiel that I say all the time. So anyone that knows me has probably heard this, but I'll tell you the whole thing. So basically, numerology is the study of numbers and how they apply to your life. The idea is that we reincarnate many times, and we do that because we're trying to learn all the aspects of what it is to be human and all the aspects of what it is to be human with other souls that are being human with us right now. So it's equally important for us to learn how to navigate this experience ourselves and understand, why we're here and what it's like to be physical and all of those things, as it is for us to have relationships in this experience with other souls and navigate what that's like. Um, so every time you come into a new life, you make a new plan, and that plan whole that's like your map, or I call it your plan or your map. You can call it whatever you want. Um, And that basically holds all of your goals for this lifetime. It holds your superpowers, your obstacles, the things that are going to help you and hurt you in this life to help you obtain all those goals, you know? Anyway, so you make this new plan and then you record that plan into your birthday. And numerology is the language that reads that plan. So I always tell people I'm just your translator, you know, because I understand that language. But I do also channel messages from my spirit guides and your spirit guides once I enter your energy field to look at your numbers, you know.
Mhm.
And then, so I do give direct messages. I also have visions. The visions don't always make sense to me, but they usually make sense to you, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, anyway, that is how I define my numerology, you know? So hopefully it
I
makes
love that definition. I think that is the best definition I've ever heard. Taking what your plan is with your birth date. Yeah,
sense.
that's the best definition I've ever heard.
Took me a long
Kudos.
time to get that right, you know? And then
Yeah.
I've memorized it because I say it 100 times a week. Like I just say it all the time, you know? So it comes out different a little bit sometimes, but you know, but it's basically the same thing. I had to add the relationship part in about a year ago because the guides started like getting very insistent that I talk about that, you know. So they were like, it's not just about you. It's about you understanding how to navigate with other people too, you know. And people need to know that they're not just trying to master their chart themselves. They're trying to learn how to form partnerships with other souls as well. So it's just really important to know that, you know.
I
Wow.
100% agree.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So how did you get here? How did
So
you said you've been doing this for 20 years, which number one, kudos, go
yeah,
you. That's
yeah,
amazing. And
yeah.
so much more to go. Um, but
Yeah.
how did you get here? What did you do before all this?
So, well, I'll tell you where my numerology came from is from my mom. So, she studied it when I was a baby and she practiced it my whole life, but she never charged for it or anything. So my whole life I've been around the numbers and interestingly enough, I was born with a Saint Germain poster on my wall. So like my mom was always studying the Violet Flame and she was studying Saint Germain and all that. And so he was on my wall. And I always thought he was like my uncle or something because I'm from a huge Italian family.
Mhm.
And we have a lot of aunts and uncles and cousins and everything. And I really just thought he was some guy in my family until I got older. And then I was like, Mom, who is that guy? You know, because he was in our house, like all of our houses in my childhood, you know. And she's like, that's Saint Germain, you know, and she taught us all about him. So I didn't know that he was in my life the whole time, but then he started showing up again. Like eventually she kind of got out of that phase and she still practiced numerology, but it wasn't really accepted in her family because they're all religious. So it was kind of like a hush hush thing that she just did at dinner a lot, you know, when people were over. Um, but but then like the year that she taught me, then Saint Germain showed up again, you know, and he just has been showing up the whole time, you know, and now of course Merlin's showing up to all my students. So anyway, what did I do before numerology? So I was a young mom. I became a mom at 17. And so I went straight from like my parents' house to you know, being a single mom. Like that's really what happened, you know. And and then I went to business school. Like I'm not going to tell you all the details in between,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Like but I did have like a very bad abusive relationship and all of that when I had my second two kids. Um, and uh, and I guess that is kind of important because I had a near death experience as a result of that
Oh.
relationship. So that's really what probably woke me up to spirituality. Like I was born into spirituality really because of my mom, you know, like we were taught that our whole lives and we used to meditate when I was little and all that. But like but I really thought that was stupid when I got older, like when I was like a teenager and all that. Like I went through a witchy phase, but I didn't really think that any of that was cool that she did, you know. And so I
Because
kind
it was your mom doing it,
of, it
right?
was my mom,
Because
and
it's
I was
mom and
Yeah.
we're
like,
teenagers
yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
And all
all
you
moms
want
are
is to
stupid.
be, yeah, you just want to be different than your mom,
Yep.
at that
Yep.
time. Of course,
Of
now all
course.
I want to be is like my mom, but
Aw.
you know, in the good ways, not the bad ways, of
Yes.
course.
Of course, of
but
course, of course.
but yeah, so yeah, so that near death experience was really what brought me back to all of this. Like it forced me to understand life and death and what it all means and why it's important and things like that. And I really woke up with a new idea about life, that I couldn't shake. It was like I was always afraid to die before that. I always thought like, so I had to get my wisdom teeth out and I had to be put under, right? It was like the year before, it was the year of the near death experience, but it was before it happened.
Mhm.
And I remember I had to sign this paper and I was like, oh my goodness, I had to sign this paper saying it was okay if I died, basically, like it wasn't on them if I die. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I said all my goodbyes to everybody. I was like, guys, if I'm out of here, I just want you to know I love you. And then of course I go through the procedure, I wake up, everything's fine. But I really was scared that you just go to sleep and that's it, it's over. And I really wasn't sure what happened. And I always had these beliefs, but they always felt like they were in the air somewhere.
Mhm.
And then I had this near death experience and everything changed because not only did I find out that like, you don't just die, you don't just close your eyes and that's it. You like actually go to this amazing place, and and I was told like it was all up to me. Like I always thought I was in this prison here. Like I always thought I'm being held in a prison. I'm like captive here, and nobody will let me go and I have to deal with all this hard stuff and it's so terrible and I can't handle it. And I would always, like I tried to commit suicide a few times when I was a kid, like when I was like, 13 and then when I was probably like 20 and whatever, like when I was, going through hard stuff. It never worked, of course, but I tried and because I always thought someone was holding me here, like someone was holding me here against my will. Well, when I had my near death experience, I always say that it was an angel because I didn't see her, I just heard her. Um, but now I know it was my main spirit guide. Like now I've met her, I know her, so I know it was her voice now. But either way, I would always say like the angel said to me, you could leave or you could stay. It's all up to you. It was always up to you the whole time. Like you had this choice the whole time because you chose to come here. And all the things that you've been through are because you chose them. And I was like, but why would I do that? I wouldn't do that. Like I know me. I wouldn't choose this. Like there's no.
Right.
And and she's like, yes, but the wise you would have, and the wise you did. And the you now that has experienced all of this gets to choose to leave. If you want to leave, go ahead, leave. I'm here to take you and I'm ready. And I wanted to go with her. Like that would have been so easy, because it was like you don't realize how much pain you have until you don't have it. And like I was only in my early 20s. You don't even think you have pain at that time. But man, when you come back into your body, you have a lot of pain you don't realize you tolerate every day, like physical pain. But anyway, I wanted to go with her and I really almost did. But then she showed me everybody in my life. And because I kept kind of like changing my mind, I kept going, I want to go, I want to go. And I would start going with her and then I would go, no, 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 I have to go back. And I would start to go back. And she was just talking me through the whole thing. Well, then finally it was kind of like decision time. And this, this, like it looked like a TV kind of. It like came in front of me. It was like this big giant screen and she showed me like where my mom is now and where she would be if I left. And then she showed me my dad and then she showed me my best friend and then she showed me my sister and brother and my kids and she just kind of showed me everybody. She was like it was one at a time. It was like, okay, this is where your dad is right now. This is how he's going to be after you leave. Everyone knew that this was a plan. This was their plan too. Like even the baby. So I had an 8-month-old baby, and or 8 or 10 month old baby, sorry. She said she knew the plan too. And, and everyone agreed to this, that there are backup plans. If you leave, everyone's going to be fine. Don't worry. And she showed me that. And everything was fine with everybody. I was like, I can leave. This is fine, until she showed me the baby. And I saw that she was going to be raised with that abusive boyfriend that put me there,
Mm.
in this moment. And she wasn't going to be raised with my family. And my older daughter was. My older daughter was going to get to stay with my family. Like it was like her dad was going to fight for her a little bit, but then he was going to give in and let my mom raise her anyway. And they were going to share her kind of. And it wasn't going to be great, but she was going to be okay. And I could live with that. Like I could die with that, I guess. And then they showed me my baby. She wasn't gonna really be okay. And like, I mean, okay, she was gonna be okay. She was gonna live and be okay, but she was gonna be angry, and she was gonna grow up.
Trauma.
Yes. And I didn't want that. And so that's why I came back, like I decided to come back for her. And so I came back. And but the thing is, when I decided to come back, the angel was like, it's going to be really, really hard. This is a really, this is a big decision, because if you think you've gone through stuff now, just wait, you're going to go through a lot more. And she said, are you sure? Like, you don't have to do this. This is an exit point. You're allowed to leave. You were always allowed to leave. And she's like, if you want to go back, you can, but like, just know you're going to face really, really hard stuff. And I said, I have to. So I did. And it did get way worse before it got better. You're like, way, way worse. But that is what started me on my spiritual path, because then I couldn't deny that I was here by my own making anymore. I couldn't deny that this was all my choice and my plan, and that gave me some kind of power in it. Where I had felt like a victim before that, now I felt like someone who at least made the choice. Whether it was a good choice or a bad choice, I wasn't sure. But I made the choice. And that gave me power, just that alone. And then after that, it was like, yes, I faced a lot of hard stuff, but now I knew a lot of things that I never knew before. Like, I know you don't die. That's one thing. And I know it's not scary. It's actually beautiful and wonderful and the best thing I've ever felt. So I knew that. And I didn't exactly know where you go, because I didn't go that far. I almost did, but I didn't. Um, but I knew wherever that was, I was completely surrounded in love, because I never felt more love than in that moment in my life. There was no such thing as love on that level. I've never felt love on that level again, unless I've asked to feel that, and then they do shower me with it again so I can feel it. Which, by the way, you can do that.
Reminders.
Yeah, you can do that anytime. You can say, if you believe in God, or even if you don't believe in God, you just say, shower me with all of the love that I came from, and you'll feel the inside of you just fill up with love. It's amazing. So I do that when I need to, which is a lot actually. um, but I also knew that this wasn't real. So like that was the other really big takeaway. There were a lot of big takeaways, but the really big one was this wasn't real. And I knew that then. And I never knew that before. Like I always took this so seriously, and I always thought this is such a make it or break it life. Like it always felt like everything was hanging on the edge of, everything. I don't know. And all of a sudden it was like I knew that this wasn't real, because when I was in that moment, that felt more real than any day of my life. There was never a day of my life that felt that real. And so now I knew the contrast, like the difference of that. Now I knew both sides, and I went, oh my goodness, this isn't even real. And so from that moment on, I went, well, if this is just a play anyway, who the hell cares? Like let's get the most out of it as we can. Now, I won't say that I've really stepped into that feeling right away because I had to now survive like a lot of things that were the result of everything that had happened. You know, like I was having seizures for a few days, and I was then having severe panic attacks for the next year, and then I was fighting a really long custody battle for my kids. So there was like a lot of things that really, this didn't just like end overnight and everything was great. It took me probably, another 5 to 10 years to really be okay, like to really settle into, okay, my nervous system can breathe. Um, but then I became a numerologist. I probably became a numerologist. I learned numerology when I was 30. So, and this was when I was like 22, 23, something like that. So a few years later, I learned numerology, and it wasn't like I just kind of dove into it and started practicing it. I lived in Pennsylvania then, and I wasn't surrounded by people that were very accepting of this. So it wasn't like I could just do this. It was like I was doing this in secret, almost like
You're
my mom.
inside the spiritual closet.
Yes, yes. And so it was kind of good though, because if I had been kind of out in the public, I probably would have destroyed my reputation because I really didn't know what I was doing yet. It took me a long time to really get it. And so anyway, I went to business school at some point, in the middle of, that whole ordeal. And I decided I was going to be an accountant. That's what I did first. And that was great. I was really good at it, but it was so boring. And I just got my work done so early all the time. And really so this guy that I worked for, it was like a small business. It was two owners. The one guy came into my office one day and he goes, "Listen, you've made it so easy that like I can handle this myself." He like literally let me go because in 6 months I like got all of his accounts in order, and I got all of his business completely running like in an hour, like an hour a day. And I didn't really have anything else to do after that. So he's like, I can really handle this myself, and so he let me go. And then I tried to do like other jobs for a while, but it just didn't work. I'm not really a worker type of person. I always thought there was something wrong with me, like because I would always go into businesses and I could work for them for a while as long as they let me change things and create like training manuals and make things better and all that. Like I'm an innovator. I go in, I change it all up, and then I'm done. But I could never last in someone else's business. I'm just not like that. So I always thought there was something wrong with me because they always wanted to keep me forever, but I just couldn't stay because it was like I was in a prison. And so I did all these jobs. Like I was a manager at an eBay store, and like I did a whole bunch of cool stuff. I thought it was cool. The best job I had was an Uber driver. I was an Uber driver for 5 years, and that was fun. you know um, but anyway, so yeah, and then eventually people just kept saying, you should be a life coach, you should be a life coach, and I didn't know what that was, so I decided to, study it and see what it was. And then I thought, oh yeah, this is me. This like fits all the parts of me. And then I tried to do that for a while, just that, and that really wasn't it either. Like it was like kind of it, but it wasn't all the way because I have this like really strong spiritual side that just kept coming out. And then I finally had a business coach that said, she like asked me this like series of questions one day, and she's like, so what would you do if you couldn't do anything else? And I said, numerology. What would you do if you were sick? I was like, oh, it's easy. Numerology. I do it when I'm sick. I do it all the time. She's like, what would you do in any place that you're at? And I'm like, oh, numerology. I've done it at a funeral even. Like I do it everywhere I go. Like I just do it. I love it, and I can't get enough of it. And she's like, why are you not a numerologist? I was like, well, I am, But like, she's like, but why is that not your main thing? Why can't you combine coaching with that? And then I realized, oh, I was already actually doing that with some clients. I just didn't realize it. Um, and then I switched, and that's where I've been now for 5 years, I guess. I've been on this path. And I finally feel like my calling has been answered, and I used to always think, people are always searching for their life purpose. That's what people come to me mostly for. They're always like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what it is. And what I realized when I finally stepped into this is like my life purpose was always knocking at my door, just waiting for me to answer. Like it was always there. I was literally born into numerology, like it was here the whole time, just waiting for me to recognize it and see it. And once I did, the whole world opened up for me. Like everything just kind of went, here I am now, and the thing is, it just took me to see it, because I kept ignoring it. I kept saying, no, people won't take me seriously if I'm a numerologist. They'll think I'm witchy and weird and, whatever. And I mean, they thought that anyway. People thought that anyway my whole life. I've never not been the witchy person that someone knows because I've always been psychic, So it's like, and that only probably opened up because I'm supposed to be a numerologist, So, but yeah, okay. So that was the long, long, long answer. That's how I
Well,
got.
that's okay. That's okay. So talk to us and tell us what does I know you said people really come to you for life purpose. I totally understand that. I
Yeah,
think that's one of the biggest things between life purpose, money, and relationships, right? Love.
yeah.
Um, what all services do you offer? And touch on a little bit about what those look like.
Yeah, of course. So I do readings, of course. I do individual or personal readings, whatever you want to call them. Um, I also do relationship readings. I also do coaching. I have like 3 different coaching packages, and they're all numerology based, where it's like I have one that is discovering you. It's all about you and like a deep dive into you. And then I have one that is relationship magic, where we do a deep dive into your relationship and how you work together and how you don't work together and that kind of thing and how to make that happen. And then I do the one that's my favorite is it's called Explore Your World. And that one is where we actually take like a whole page like this, and we do your chart, your husband's chart, your kids' charts, your parents, your grandparents, all the people in your life. And we do that for 6 weeks, where we go through 2 at a time, and you find out why everyone's in your life and what you're working on together and like how they're helping and hurting you and things like that. That is the most amazing, because people walk away understanding everybody. Like they understand the patterns that they're all working on, which spoiler alert, that is the same pattern all of you are working on. That's why you're doing it together. It's just one person's doing it this way, one person's doing it that way, and that's why, like, you know, people are difficult because they're actually teaching you how to step into your pattern that you're working on, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it's actually really cool, and it creates a lot of compassion in your life, because it makes you realize like why people do what they do, and how it's not really coming from this bad place. It seems like, it's usually coming from this place where they're operating from on the same plan that you are. It's just different, and it's just cool. Anyway, I also do courses. Like, I have wizard school, and wizard school is basically becoming a numerologist yourself, like getting certified. It's my 30-week program where you literally go through and learn every single number, and you learn every combination of every number, and you also do the deep dive into your family and into who you are. And you learn so much by the end that you feel confident then to practice yourself. In fact, all of my numerologists, I think all of them are practicing themselves. I know almost all of them are. And they're like having like some success now too already. So it's pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, so those are the main things I do. And then I do like little things, like I teach I was doing a membership where I was teaching all different subjects every month, like manifestation and telepathy and just little things, like just little one-off trainings. I don't really do that anymore. I do a little bit of that, but I don't do as much of that because it was kind of confusing people from what I do, so it's a little too much. And then I do also I make like meditations and things too. But I make meditations that are different than normal. So like I found out that there's a lot of people that can't actually visualize. Like I'm really good at visualization. I have a lot of pictures that are always being shown to me by my spirit guides and things like that. So I'm really good at that. But I didn't know that some people can't do that at all. In fact, one of my daughters can't do that at all. And so I create meditations where it's called like Anaphastasia or something. I don't know, something. It sounds like
Yeah.
Anastasia to me, but it's not that. Whatever it's called, it's where you can't see pictures. Or maybe you're some level of not being able to see pictures. So I create meditations where you could listen to just the audio or you could watch a visual as well. So I create like a video to go with the meditation so that if you can't see pictures yourself, it can create that for you so that you can match that feeling so that it works for you still. So
That
I
is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
yeah, I've never
I
seen
love
anybody
that.
do that, but I love it
Yeah.
because even though I visualize, I love watching it too. Like because it comes to life then for you and the meditations I have are mostly manifestation ones, you know. So it's like it's about like creating the big life that you want and if you can see it in front of you, you can feel it then. And even one of them, I put a heartbeat sound in it. So like the whole time it's like going do do, and it feels like it's talking to you. Like it feels like it's becoming part of you. And so yeah. So those are the kinds of things I do. You know, that's basically everything I do almost. So and then I go on podcasts. I've been doing that lately a lot. So
Well, we're glad you're on this one.
kind of my new thing is I'm trying to be in more places. So
Well,
Wow.
again, thank you
I'm
for
not
being
great
here.
at the promotion part. I'm not great at like the marketing or like getting my name out there or anything. I like to be really authentic. So like I love one-on-one and I love interacting with people and I'm very charismatic when I do that. But then when I try and record a video that's just me, I go, I look like a puppet. Like I look like me, like it's just not the same. So the only videos I can really do are like live videos. They're
Mhm.
the only ones to me that seem authentic, you know?
I
So
get that.
I don't know.
I
Uh,
understand that too. I try to make videos and I'll look at it after and I'm like, I'm not going to put that anywhere. I'm just going to let that one go for a
I
while.
probably have 50 videos that I should be posting that are like that because I keep trying,
Mhm.
but I don't believe it myself. Like I watch them and I'm like, you look cheesy. You look like you're pretending, you know?
Right. It feels
So,
Mhm.
scripted. It feels
yes.
very scripted sometimes.
And
Yeah.
I
It does.
hate
Yeah.
that. So, but when I'm with someone, anyone is in front of me, it's totally different. Like, because then I don't know, I'm playing with energy, I guess. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you have that energy exchange even like virtually. You have that
Yes,
energy to kind of keep the spark. I
And
yes,
think.
feed off of each other.
Yes.
yes,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
So that's, where I'm at. And I'm also writing a book. I should have said that. I'm writing a book about repeating numbers. That is the number one thing that people ask me. So like I say it's life purpose, it's relationships, it's whatever. No, it's definitely repeating numbers.
Hmm.
So
What are the most common repeated numbers?
uh the most common is 1111, of
Yep.
course.
I
Um,
was I was
and
thinking that.
then like 123 or 1234. Those are the ones that kind of come to me a lot. They come to me myself, but they also people come to me with all the time. So 1111, I'll just tell you because I know everyone's going to want to know.
Yeah.
Well, I was about
11,
to ask.
yeah. um 1111 always, always, always means the same thing. Okay. Every other set of repeating numbers can be interpreted different ways, based on what you're going through. But
Okay.
1111 is always a direct message from your spirit guide saying that you are on the right track. Everything's going the way that it's been planned, and to have no fear and no worries. Like everything's good. It's like it's a checkpoint, you know?
Does that apply to 111 as
Yeah.
well, or
Yeah.
just 1111?
Anytime you're seeing any series of ones, it always means that. It's
Because I
all,
happen
yeah.
personally, I happen to see 111 a little bit more than I see
Yeah.
1111. I don't, just that's
Totally
me.
the same. And it's because
Okay.
one is the crown chakra. So it's a direct message from source, and it's basically like I say it's your spirit guides, but that's all the same energy, like they're all the same energy. But it's basically literally I always see 1111 when I'm stressing out about life, when I'm thinking when I think I'm doing it all wrong, I'm fucking it all up. The whole world is going haywire, and it's all because of me. And so whenever that happens, I see 1111, and I really always take it as my spirit guides going, chill out, you're fine. Everything's fine. Stop it, because
Mm.
we have bigger things to do. And that's what they always remind me of. They're always like, listen, we're working together on purpose. We're trying to do something here. So, like, stop getting in your head about every little thing. It doesn't matter. We're good, And so that's always what 1111 is. Maybe not on that extreme level, but that is what it is. When you're seeing 1 2 3 or 1 2 3 4, I have found for me that means take one step and then another step and kind of breathe, like just take the next step. It could also mean, so if you broke it down to what the numbers mean, it could also mean the one could be the direction, and then the two is your heart and your emotions, and the three is balance, and then a four is opportunities. So it's like take the next step, use your heart, and trust that everything's going to be okay, and then the balance will come, and then the opportunities will open up. Like it kind of like it'll lead you to that. But every number has like its main meanings. It always is what it means to you, though. Like so one thing about repeating numbers that people do not understand, and I just want to kind of make a billboard in the, in the air, is like, this is always spirit guide communication. This is not random. This is not just a coincidence that you're seeing them. It really honestly is your spirit guides trying to talk to you. And the reason that they're trying to do that is because they are trying to help you navigate this life that you made a pact with them to do together. Like everyone has a main spirit guide. That spirit guide is literally your best friend on the other side. They are holding your hand. They signed up for this life just like you signed up for this life, except they're navigating it from the other side and you're navigating it from here. The only way for them to help you is for you to try and learn how to talk to them. you know so they try so hard. They send birds, they send shells, they send rocks, they send numbers, they do whatever they can to try and get you to work with them, but you're always being taught that they're not even real. So like it's so frustrating, for them, and so they keep trying. But the thing is, like, what we do then when we even pay attention is we go, well, does it really mean that? What if it doesn't mean
Yep.
that? What if it means something else?
We
But
start
so
second guessing things.
yes, because you're taught not to believe, so you don't really know what you should believe. So the thing is, if you see, 1111, your guides are like, okay, guys, you're good. You're fine. We're fine. Everything's good. Okay. Then you're gonna see like say 222 or something, and they're like, we want you to trust us. Like we're trying to get you to trust us. But when you get the message, then they move on to another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then that actually becomes breadcrumbs to teach you where to go on your path. Like they want to work with you. It's not random, and it's not for no reason. And also, they do not send you messages that are for your neighbor. Like they send you messages that would make sense to you. So the first thing that it seems like it might be talking about is the thing that it's talking about. Like that's what we struggle so much with. We're like, but what does it really mean? What does it really mean? But the simplest, most direct answer is what it means, because they're just trying to get a message to you any way that they can. It's going to be simple, it's going to be easy to understand, and it's going to make sense to you for what you're going through or what you were just asking about. And that is what is so hard for people to understand, because that's not how life seems to work, So
Right.
so it's hard to comprehend that it would be that simple, but it really is that simple. And the thing is, the more you pay attention, the bigger and deeper the messages will get, and the stronger the communication will get. So it's just it's a little frustrating to me. I like that I can teach about it. I like that I can help people learn, but like it's a little bit frustrating because people will come to me with obvious messages that they don't understand. And so I'll give you an example, okay? So this girl came to me, and she may watch this, I don't know, but sorry if you do.
Well,
But
there's no names. She's anonymous.
I'm not
Nobody's
gonna
gonna know
I'm
who
not
she
gonna
is.
tell her, I'm not gonna say her name, but she came to me and she said, so I keep seeing this number like over and over and over. And I'm like, okay, what's the number? And she tells me, and it's a date. And I said, okay, does that date mean anything to you? Because she kept saying, I can't figure out what it means. And I'm like, does it mean anything to you? She goes, well, it's the date of my anniversary with my ex-husband. And I said, okay, do you think that he might be sending you a message? she's like she's like, well, I don't know why you would do that, he died like a year ago. And I'm like, yeah. I said, just so you know, that is your ex-husband. He's trying to tell you he's still here, and he's trying to tell you that he's still here for you and your kids that you had together. Like he's still here, you can still rely on him even though he's on the other side. That's what he's trying to tell you. you know and to me, that's very obvious. you know but I do understand why it's not obvious to other people. Like, I do understand, because I do the same thing where I go, is that really a sign? Does it really mean what I think? But I do kind of go, I promise you, they're trying to tell you something that you would understand. They're trying to give you a message that would make sense to you, not your neighbor, not somebody else. You don't need an interpreter. You have everything you need already. you know and then one other thing is that, so wizard school, when you
Mm.
start learning about numerology, um, so this is work that is sacred work. You do it with your spirit guides, okay? You cannot do it without your spirit guides. So people come to me and they're like, well, I want to do what you do. I want to have communication with my spirit guides that's just very direct like that, where they send me messages and I understand the messages. Well, that is what happens in wizard school automatically. Like, I don't know why. I mean, I do know why it happens. I don't know how it happens, okay? But I do know that it has happened to every one of my students, where it literally just turns on overnight. It's like their channel opens and now they channel messages. And it's because they have to do this work. So like that's what actually happens, is that the messages just start coming through, and then they start hearing that, well, not hearing them, but knowing them and whatever. Everybody kind of receives the messages differently, but they have to actually work with you to do this kind of work, because it's that kind of, it's life-changing work. Like, you sit with someone for an hour and their life literally is different after that, because it creates like an unlocking to who they really are. So yeah, so that's the other thing, is that like people that struggle their whole life to even understand what a repeating number means for them suddenly have these like direct messages start coming, and it's just open. Then like the channel just opens, like overnight. So yeah, so that's been like a miracle of wizard school that I one of the miracles. So
That
um
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I
really
actually kind of want to sign up for that.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
sitting here going,
Hmm. Oh, you're doing the same thing. Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
hmm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
it's got to be so enriching to be able to open people up to not only the knowledge about themselves when you're doing the reading, but then the knowledge of how to do the readings. I mean, I
Yeah.
imagine you and your students, it's just, it is, it's life changing, like you just
It
said.
is. I
Wow.
mean, so this is the thing. I didn't actually teach that class. Okay. Like, I would love to say I'm this brilliant, awesome teacher, which I do believe I'm a good teacher. Okay. But the truth is, my guides got very, very persistent and they started saying, you have to teach this. You have to teach this. You have to teach this. And it was so loud and I couldn't ignore it anymore. And I was just like, fine, then you better help me, and then they started showing me, like they showed me a girl that I needed to teach, like so literally I was like, okay, so they showed me one girl that I was to teach, and I said it to the girl, and I know I scared her away because of it, because she probably thought, I mean, she had just met me for a reading, and she didn't know me, so she probably thought I was just some salesy crazy marketing person, I don't know. And I'm like, hey, so my guide said I'm supposed to teach you this, and I said it probably better than that, but she never came back, and I don't blame her. But then I kind of like sat on my bed the one day and I said, all right, well, if I'm supposed to teach this, who am I supposed to teach it to? Because I don't know who the heck wants to learn this. What am I supposed to do? And so they literally showed me someone's face that I had done one reading with before. I didn't even know her really. I just had that one time with her, and then they showed me her name. They literally put her name. Like I have this like it's like when I had my near death experience, it's like a TV in front of my eyes.
Mhm.
They showed me her name, and then I looked at my calendar, which my calendar is usually pretty packed with people, so I never know who's on it day to day. I looked at my calendar and she was on it for that week, and I was like, oh my goodness, she had already scheduled time with me, which I forgot about. And so when I met with her, I said, hey, so I know this might sound weird, and she's like someone I would be intimidated by because she's in a different class of life than me. And I just I wouldn't normally say something like this to her, and I was just like, so have you ever thought about like learning a new modality? And I don't even use words like that, but I that's what I said. And she goes, are you kidding me right now? I was like, no, I just want to know. And she goes, I was literally standing in my kitchen last week and I said out loud, show me a modality and I'll sign up for it. And I was
Wow.
like, you said that? And she goes, that's the word I said. And I was like, wow, because I don't even use that word. And she signed up. She's one of my best numerologists. She's one of my best friends now, too. Like I love her
Wow.
so much. But yeah, and then I would just like, I didn't really know how to teach it. I was like, how do I don't even know how to structure something like that because I had only run one course before that and it really kind of sucked, honestly. It wasn't that great. um, but like I just said, show me and teach me and help me. And I would show up every week kind of with a little bit of a plan, but not really knowing what I was gonna do. And it just flowed and it
Nice.
it came so beautifully. Like it just did. And it all flowed like right in order. Like the next thing just came when it was ready. And there's a couple classes I want to redo, which I'm going to this time when I run it. But like for the most part, it made itself. Like it taught itself. It was so easy. It was so easy. Like it was time consuming because I had to create all the worksheets and all that and all that kind of stuff. Like all the actual components were time consuming, but the actual teaching, so simple. So simple. I would say
Wow.
I only showed up to class maybe 3 times with a plan, because it was taught right through me. Like it just was.
That's
And
amazing.
and the students are so good. It's like I took 20 years of learning or less than that then. But like I took all this learning and I got them from the starting point to the ending point with a bridge. It just they it's like they started at a place where I had to get to, like it's just amazing. And I didn't realize like that they were going to unlock so fast. Like they were going to start channeling so fast. They were going to have like some of them had Merlin speak directly to them. Like I just don't even, it's mind blowing. I'm not even someone that believes in stuff like that, like, working with ascended masters and all that, but it's undeniable. You can't deny it. It's so obvious. And there's so many people involved that like, you'd be crazy to say it's not true. It is true. And so that's why I named it Wizard School then after that, because clearly we're becoming wizards, we're
I
working
love
in
that.
magic. So literal magic. So yeah,
Wow.
I'm a little obsessed with my work. It's true. I really am.
That's a beautiful thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
Being
That's
able to work at what you love is like the highest form of success, right?
Yeah.
And obviously you're loving what you're doing. I mean, you're glowing with it. So
Yeah.
that's just amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
what you do.
It's
I'm
very good.
interested in the grid that you held up. So
Yeah.
you do the numbers like I said, I was taught
Yeah.
add up your numbers, look it up in a book, break them down if you
Yeah.
can. And
Yeah.
my numbers, because it ends up an 11, sometimes I'm a 2, sometimes I'm 11, depending on what book I'm reading. I
Yeah.
know that you do it all different.
Yeah.
So you set up a grid. I mean, it looks like a Sudoku,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I can show you a page. Let me show you a blank page so you can see what it really looks like. Hopefully everyone will be able to see it. So like this is a chart.
yeah.
Like all of these are charts. There's 12 of them on the page. Okay. And every chart, you just write out their birthday at the top, and then you put the numbers in the places that they go, and you add them up. And so I can show you, let me actually write down your numbers and I'll show
Okay.
you your chart. Okay.
Okay.
So what are they?
Um,
Or sorry, what's your birthday? That's a better.
1 March 1st, 1969. Now everybody knows how old I am.
Oh,
I
sorry.
was just thinking the
Sorry.
same
You can
thing.
edit that little
Not
part
doing that
No,
out.
one.
no, that's okay.
Uh,
Mid past century.
we'll do that one offline. Mm.
And let me have your numbers too. I'll write them down too.
And mine,
Yeah.
my birth date.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no, no, no,
Do
not
you
on air.
want
No,
to?
ma'am.
That's the better question. Yeah.
I'm still 45.
Um,
I
yeah.
I I was told I just had a birthday, 331. And so yeah, and I was trying to decide on my age, and so we came up with 45, and we like that
Okay.
age.
Yeah.
That's a good year.
Hmm. Hmm.
I can barely remember it now.
Yeah, so I've never been 45 before. I'm looking forward to this year.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what year is that?
Oh yeah, we're not saying that on air, and I'm real serious about
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I am. I'm very
Well,
serious about that.
okay. Well, let me write this out. Okay, so I'm gonna show you, Deanna, I'm gonna show you
Okay.
your chart and then we'll talk about it,
Okay.
about how it works.
That's
So
kind of cool.
I know. I'm actually rethinking in my head going, do I want to
You're,
share this?
I'm
listen,
fine
you're
with people knowing how old
you're
I am at this
welcome
point.
to change your mind, but you don't have to. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is your chart, okay?
Okay.
So basically, all right, so there's three aspects to being human, okay? So there's the spiritual, the mental, and the physical, okay?
Okay.
And then anything that is in the spiritual and the mental, those are your superpowers or your gifts for this lifetime. Anything that's in the physical, those are going to be the obstacles that get in your way, okay? So spiritual and mental are always going to be in direct opposition with your physical. Okay, you can see you don't have anything in the physical.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that your life is easy. Nobody's life is easy. We're human. That's the human experience. But you don't have any extra obstacles, which means a lot of things in your life are more external than internal. Like they're not coming from you, they're usually coming from outside of you when you're
Okay.
struggling. Um, Anything that's in this column, these are all your goal numbers for this lifetime. And then the one that is circled is your main goal for this lifetime. Okay, so every one of these numbers means something. And then every one of these combinations together means something. So like the 3 and the 6, the 9 and the 1, you know, like all of those mean things, you know, and then in the goal column, they also mean something individually there, you know. So basically it's kind of like, this is what I'm made of and this is what I'm doing with it, you know. And sometimes, you know, our goals are human goals and they make sense. You know, and then other times they're more spiritual goals and they don't always make so much sense, you know. Um, you know, but you know, your goals pretty much make sense, you know, like, oh, actually put one of your numbers in the wrong place. That's funny. Whenever that happens, it actually is trying to tell you something else. Like it's trying to give you another message. So like I put your 6 in the wrong place. So it's actually like talking about your family then instead of just your 6, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's talking about creativity around your family and like it's talking about how you're like creatively driven and that you're doing it for your family, you know, like that kind of thing. Like it's kind of talking about where your why is in what you're doing, like in your work and all that. So yeah, it's just interesting because I don't do that very often. So, um you know, so anyway, tell me what your questions are.
Oh, good God. I don't know. Am I on, I mean, everybody wants to know, am I on the right path? Am I working am I doing the right thing? Am I on the path I'm supposed to be? Am I running it? I don't know. Am I just on the
Yeah.
path?
So you're always on your path, and that's because you're somebody who does not stray from your path. Like some people do. Some people do kind of go off the rails a little bit, and they you know, they get into things that they shouldn't and whatever, and then they have to like find a way back to their path. Um which is also still, you know, planned. It's all planned still. It's just you're not someone that does that. You're somebody that's like a train on tracks. You're in a forward motion. You're always going that way. Like you're always working. You're somebody who is always working with your goals in mind, you know, like you're always headed forward. You're also a visionary. So you're somebody who has a lot of psychic ability because you're working with your third eye chakra and you are using that ability to actually like I mean, like you're doing like life change. You're doing like change. You're helping people in the world. Like you're sorry. Whenever I put my hand up, it like does that thing. I'm sorry. Like I can't help it. It just like it does that. Anyway, uh, so basically, your third eye is open, and you're somebody who sees the future in some way or multiple ways. Okay. And because you can see the future, and then you have this other combination, it like this combination with it creates the visionary, which is someone who can see the future and then also make it happen. I always say that you're someone with the gumption, which I don't love that word, but it's like the right word for it.
Mhm.
You have the gumption to make it happen, you know, to bring that idea to life, you know. You're someone who wouldn't just share your ideas unless there was some good reason because you knew that could happen, you know, like you wouldn't just share it. You would be like, well, I have this idea. You might talk it over or something with someone, but you wouldn't actually like get serious about it unless you actually saw it happening and then you were intending to bring it to life, you know. So you're someone that if I was talking to people in your support system, I would say always believe you because you know what you're talking about, you know, like you are somebody that can make things happen as long as you have the support behind you to make that happen, you know, like so people should invest in your ideas, they should support your ideas, they should help you to get there, you know, because you will get to the places you're trying to get to, you know, you do have what it takes, you know. And then you are here trying to make the world a better place for you having been here. So you are literally you're working on that every day. Like that's kind of like you're making your world pretty. You're trying to make it nice and feel good and all of that for the people around you and your family and things like that. But then you're also trying to do that for other people. You're trying to have like an outreach, you know, and the visionary always has like this big idea, you know. They're like, I want to have a ripple effect from my actions in this world, you know. I don't want to just touch you. I want to touch you, and then you touch the next person, and you touch the next person, and you touch the next person. And it's like my goodness goes everywhere, you know. Like my addition to this world affects everyone as much as it can, you know. And then
Hmm.
you're pretty intentional about that, you know, like you're really intentional actually. um you're in a life that I would call an optional last life, which is you know, there's a lot of us that are ascending soon because our mission's almost done, you know, and you're probably in the same soul tribe as me, or you wouldn't be talking to me. Like, you know, you only vibrate with the people you come from, kind of. So there's not a lot of people in your world that won't be in your soul tribe. Soul tribes are huge, you know, but this specific soul tribe, I was told, was created to help lift the veil of awareness. So like basically the time that we're going through right now is we're getting to the end of that transition, and that I don't know exactly how long we've been doing it. I was showed 100, so I don't know if that's 100 years or 100 lifetimes. I'm not really sure, but we've been doing this for a long time, and we're now reaching the end where it's about to happen. And so I don't know when it's going to happen because timelines always change, and also there is no psychic that can tell you the future. Like
Right.
I wish people really knew that, but futures change all the time, dependent on your decisions, dependent on your moods, dependent on a whole bunch of things. So we can tell you the predicted future on this path. Like we can see what's going to happen next, you know, 5 steps from now, if you go exactly the way you are now. But like that can change at any moment with any decision. So like no one can really actually tell you the future. They can just predict what the future looks like in this moment, you know, while they're in your energy field this moment, you know. Anyway, uh, so basically, the veil is about to be lifted either now or sometime in the next, you know, 5 years or so. I don't know how long, but the veil is about to be lifted, and this has been attempted many times before. Throughout history, it's been attempted. But it was usually attempted in smaller places. Like it would be attempted like in a village, or it would be attempted in a town or a country or things like that. And it never worked. And the reason why it never worked is because when the veil got lifted, all the humans found out who they really were, where they really came from, and how powerful they really were, and they destroyed each other. They enslaved each other. They were cruel and mean and too powerful, you know. So this time is a very different attempt, and it took a lot longer of a time span. So it was like this time we spread out throughout the whole world to raise the vibration slowly over time, so we could get enough people in the right vibration that when it finally lifts, then, and we all understand who we are, where we came from, and how powerful we really are, we hopefully don't kill each other. You know, we hopefully don't ruin the world and blow it up and cause chaos, you know. Now nobody knows what's going to happen, you know. Nobody really knows what the result is going to be when it does happen. And it likely can go that way because it's gone that way before, you know. But most of us are here for that. Most of us are here knowing that it could go either way. It could be really, really horrible, or it could be really, really beautiful, you know, and we don't really know which way it's going to go. But a lot of us signed up for lifetimes just to see it. Like there's a lot of people that are here just to see it, you know. Um, you're not one of those people. You're actually one of the change makers. Like you're one of the ones helping lift the veil, you know. I'm one of those ones. Roni, you're probably one of those ones as well, you know.
I've
Um,
been told.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people that are literally here just to see it, because they just want to be part of this time because it's been building for so long and it's so exciting. Um, so you are somebody that you chose an optional last life this time because either you're going to make such a big impact that you're going to want to come back and continue with that impact, like do more of whatever it is that you create now, or you're not sure you're going to accomplish exactly what you wanted to come here for. So you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to go, maybe I'll come back one more time. Like you're just kind of it gives you this option where you're like, I want to be on my last life, but I'm not quite done yet. I'm not sure if I'm done yet. So you're gonna ask yourself that question when you do go to the other side. And you're gonna be like, do I want to come back? Is there more to do? Like, did I accomplish what I wanted? Or could I do it a little bit better? Could I tweak it? Whatever. And that's the kind of life you're on right now. You've also, I assume it's happened already. I don't know, obviously, if it has, but you've had a spiritual awakening in this lifetime, like I would say. And it was probably pretty serious when it happened, because it looks like it was. So you're on the other side of it now. Like I say I assume that, but I was pretty sure anyway. That's why I didn't ask. I usually ask qualifying questions before I say something like that because it's pretty serious.
Yeah.
But I was pretty sure it happened already. Or we probably wouldn't be sitting here.
Right, right.
So, but you are somebody who is now like walking in the path of what you came here for. Like you are very much on task now with the plan. Not that you weren't before, but before you were more gathering the plan and you were more like gathering the tools for the plan. And now you're actually walking in the plan. And then you're very structured and you have a lot of like you have a lot of like stability, like you're working on stability and you're working on like certainty and being safe and providing that safety for others. So like you're actually making very solid plans that can be stable, that other things can be built on top of. So you're like the foundation layer type person. And then there's a little bit going on with your psychic abilities where um it's kind of like I'm trying to decipher what they're saying about it because I'm like asking questions. So I'm always asking questions while I'm doing this. You just can't
Mhm.
tell that I'm doing that. Um they're showing me your psychic abilities having like a lot of possibility, like a lot of openness where there's a lot of gathering of psychic awareness, tools to use, things like that. But then they're showing me like a spiral where you're going to learn something and then you're going to like use it, but then you're going to like kind of come back to it and then expand it more. Like that's what they're showing me. Like you're using all the same tools, um, but you're they're like curling in. Like I don't know how to describe it. They're like curling in and they're expanding inside of you. Like it's almost like you're taking them in and then you're kind of like seeing what they are and then you're making them more. Like maybe you're integrating them. Yeah, it's like you're integrating them with you. You're embodying them. That's what it is. Okay, so you're embodying them. So you're not like just learning spiritual, psychic things like that. You're gathering like okay, sorry. You told me before we started that you do Reiki. Okay. Okay. You are not somebody that just learns Reiki. You are somebody that brings Reiki inside your body and literally then your body moves with it. Okay. So that's what they're showing me. Like you are not only a healer, but you are an embodiment of healing. Like you are walking whatever it is that you do, and that's not common. Like that's not something I don't even know if they've ever shown me before. Like that's not something that's why it took me a while to decipher it. That's not something I've seen before. but you're actually
Hmm.
bringing it inside of you rather than like a lot of people grab their psychic gifts on the outside of them and kind of like use them as tools, like kind of like a sword, you know. It's like you gather Reiki, you get Reiki, you get all the knowledge of Reiki, and then you kind of like go use it like a wand, you know. You're not like that. Like you gathered Reiki and then embodied it all the way, and then now you're actually, it's flowing through your veins, like it's coming out of you, you know, like you're using it.
Does that include like the other healing modalities I do also?
Yeah.
Like, because I do unity field healing, but also we had my good friend Dr. Thomas on here a couple months ago, and he and I brought in a kind of channeled in a totally new kind of healing that we've been out doing that just feels like every time I do a different form of a different modality, it just feels so much more powerful, but it also feels like it's bringing all the other ones with it. Do you know what I mean? Like I took
Yeah.
the Reiki, combined, I did the Unity field, they
Mhm.
work together, and now we're up into the ETA healing, and it's all of it together. So is that
Yeah.
what
So
what you
that's
mean?
what they're showing me. Yeah. So
Okay.
like they're showing me how you take it in and you kind of spiral it together. Like you're weaving. You're not weaving, but you're like combining it into this like different thing almost, and then you're embodying that thing. So like
Wow. Yeah.
so you're almost changing what it is into how you can, it's reminding me of a robot. Okay, like they're showing me like, because they're trying to explain it so that I can explain it, and it's like not working as well as I like it to. um they're showing me a robot, and they're showing me like a new program for that robot. Like it's like the robot is being programmed with something that already exists, but then it actually makes the robot change into something different, you know? So like so you're taking different things and you're taking them inside of you like a program, and then you're combining those programs into something that doesn't even exist, you know? And then you're embodying that though. So like when you embody something, you move with it. It moves with you. It becomes you. It's like numerology. Like you would never, nobody would ever think of numerology and not think of me. That's my goal. And nobody would ever think of me without thinking of numerology. It's because I combine it with who I am. It becomes my being. It becomes my force, you know, that I'm working with. That's what you're doing. Only you're doing it with multiple things. And they're showing me how you're taking it in. I want to say you're taking it in through your crown chakra, but you're not. You're taking it in through your tunnel, through your third eye. Um, but they're actually showing me you take it in the side.
Hmm.
It's kind of weird. Um, it's more of a spirit guide transmission than it is like a God force transmission or a source transmission. And it's not really your third eye either. It's kind of like a mixture. And you're taking it in this like opening in the side of your head on the right side for some reason. And then they're showing it swirling in your brain and kind of like incorporating with your knowledge, you know, and then it's becoming part of your whole body. And then it's almost like you put on the new modality, you know, but then you actually mix whatever comes next with it, and you keep doing that. And it's actually you transforming into just a really powerful healer, you know, like that's
Wow.
showing me, because then it's like highlighting your six, which is the healer, you know, because the six is the hand chakras. So like that's you, it's you embodying this so that you can walk this healing, you know. um
Wow.
I don't know if that all makes sense.
It does. Actually, I didn't want to say much because I was so busy
Yeah,
listening, but
yeah.
my guides are always on the right side. And Ronnie, you know this because every time I channel them in, they start here and I am up here on my left side. I don't know how I'm coming. My
Mhm.
left side is where my consciousness, my current consciousness goes when
Okay.
I'm listening to my higher self speak or listening to the guides or having the guides talk through me. The guides are
Okay.
always on my right. Always,
My
always,
guides are
always.
always right there too. I always say
Yeah.
they're right here, like there's a tunnel here or something.
Yes, they're
They
always right
super,
here. And when
yeah.
I'm doing healings, hands-on or otherwise, they're still right on my right-hand side. So that makes so much sense. And when you were talking about the spiral, I was seeing the Reiki symbol with the spiral. Just the minute you said
Oh,
spiral, that just like boom right in
yeah.
my head.
Oh, you
And
know
I
what's
thought, okay,
funny? that 9 actually reminds me of that symbol. So let
Yeah.
me show you how I drew the 9. I just don't, whenever I draw it a different way, it means something different.
Yep. It has a
Like,
little, almost a little start of a spiral right in
yeah,
it.
and it's like open. And so they kept
Uh-huh.
showing me that opening, and they kept showing me knowledge coming through from here, and it's like
Hmm.
coming through, and it's going through your brain first, and then it's going through your body, because then they were showing me the 6, and they were showing me your hands, and they just, and then when I couldn't understand what they were showing me, they started showing me a robot, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
Yeah, you're like, what
It's
does
like
a robot have to
it's
do with anything?
it's like
Yeah.
being a reprogramming. It's
yeah, it's
like a
a reprogram.
reprogramming and running different numbers, which is interesting because I don't know anything about binary code except that it's a lot of ones and zeros, so there's a lot of ones in it. So
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
Well,
That
and
is
ones
wow.
are always source energy. Like, one is your crown chakra, and it's
Hmm.
your connection to source energy. So you are someone that pulls down that white light energy through your body, and you use that for your healing as well. So I kept getting confused thinking they were talking about that, but they were not talking about that. So
That is so cool. Yeah, I've been working diligently in the last, I don't know, maybe a month or so to actually, instead of just going around doing readings and healings willy-nilly, to set things up to get the business actually legitimately up and running, which it is. I mean, I spent
yeah.
how many days, Ronnie, trying to get that stupid website to work, and I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I've just completed that in the last few days. Like
Mhm.
business is up, website is up. Now I have to market. And when I talk about marketing, I am like focused on it. Like I never thought I was that much of somebody who markets, but my friends and I started a church. Long story, we had to leave our first church, so we made up our own. We're a spiritualist church. But I'm always the one that's saying, well, we should do this or we should do this, or having these ideas just run through my head. And I tell everybody what the ideas are. And then I
Mhm.
don't remember them. And I'm like, you guys write this down. Here comes something, and it's kind of a
Yeah.
joke that I'm going to say we should do all this stuff. And then I will not remember that I even said it. And that happens more often than, than I even want to admit sometimes.
That's
That,
normal, because that's
yeah.
channeling. That's
Yes.
how channeling works. I don't remember things I say 5 minutes ago. Like, it's not me saying it. That's why. And it's not you saying it. That's why.
Right. Right. And
So,
I think that that transfers into how am I going to market my business? What am I going to do? And I'm planning all these things and ways to get my name out there. And I talked to my friend Thomas about our healing, and I'm like, we should do this. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? And he's like, just he's like, let's just make a QR code. I'm like, yeah, that's probably easier. But like all
yeah.
that stuff. Even today, I'm like in an event next week where it's just a publicity thing for all the healers in town who want to sign up to just be there and let people come and just learn about us. We're not
Mhm.
we're not selling anything, we're not doing anything, we're just there to present and say, hey, we're here for you. It's a huge, wonderful idea that a local healer had to do that. And I'm like, all right, so what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? What am I going to, and so when you were talking about that and like having that vision and just
Yeah.
doing it, I totally see that in smaller ways over the years, big ways now since a few years ago when everything kind of exploded and then rebuilt. And that whether that was the end of the spiritual awakening or the beginning, I don't know. It was
Yeah.
a major life change that really took me through the ringer for a while and
Yeah.
brought me to where I am now. So
Yeah.
that's just everything you said. Like, I know I'm going to go back and watch this a few more times
Yeah.
and post
Yeah.
it. But that's absolutely amazing the way that that works. And I'm kind of floored by that. I just, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And then when I think about the one you said you do where you put all the family members in,
Mhm.
the where you,
What
Explore
did
your
you
the
call that?
world,
The
world.
world one?
the
Yeah.
world.
Explore your world. Yeah.
Explore your
Yeah.
world.
I
Yeah.
can already see, like, I don't know anything about the numbers, but I can see just looking at what you said and looking at the people in my family, I can see how some of that actually really fits together. And
Yeah.
because I mean, I could talk all day, but I'll stop after this. But like
No, it's fine.
my grandfather tried to
Yeah.
work regular and ended up going to watchmaker school, opening up his own watchmaker shop. and self-employed. My
Mhm.
father went into the same business, also self-employed,
Mhm.
and I mean, it was great growing up because he would work and take care of me and my sister, and we didn't have anything to worry about. He was
Yeah.
always around. But I
Yeah.
remember telling him that I wanted to be a watchmaker when I grew up, and he's like, no, don't be self-employed. And
Yeah.
so I'm not. I mean, I've always worked. I've always worked in, helping profession, but now it's like all I want to do is my own thing. All I want to do. And I have to
Yeah.
remind myself, no, you have to save for retirement. You have to get your pension. You have to do these things so that in 10 years
Yeah.
you can retire and then you can do but it's like the time is now to
Yeah.
start really pushing it. And that's not coming from me. That's just
Oh
and
yeah.
so I called my dad. I'm like, hey, guess what? I started a business. I'm officially my own business owner now, just like you and grandpa. And
Nice.
he's like, awesome. How are you going to pay your taxes? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I have to talk to the accountant. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean that just to, since I'm totally
Yeah.
oversharing here, that totally makes sense with what you're saying
Yeah.
because it's kind of like a family a family path.
Yeah.
Just the
Well,
way most of us are all in helping professions. Myself, my cousins, one of my
mhm.
kids, we're all in helping professions.
Well,
Um,
what you'll notice is that the people in your family and even like your close friends and things like that, you're going to see that they all have some of the same numbers, and sometimes they'll have almost identical charts. But
yeah,
the thing is that like you're all doing it slightly different. It's all going to be like the same thing you're working on, like the same lessons usually, like the same overarching lessons, but you're all doing it a different way. And the thing I see almost every time is that your parents are doing an extreme version of what you're working on. And that's why they get under your skin. That's why they're the best and worst people you've ever known. It's
Mm,
because they're working on the extreme version of whatever it is that you are trying to learn. And it's actually to teach you, and
oh,
teach you to
yes,
walk
I
in,
get that.
you know. Um,
Wow.
but
And
that's
my right ear is ringing very strongly. So my guides are like, listen to this, listen to
yeah,
this.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like when you do
Yeah.
the whole page of everyone in your life, you kind of go, "Oh my goodness, this was what blew my mind." Okay, was I knew that there was a plan. Okay, because I obviously there's a plan. Okay, but I was always like, "Oh, but we have free will, so it's like a loose plan." No, it's not. It's very, very structured. And yes, you do have free will as well. So, like, the plan is so intricate and so beautiful and so perfect. It really is perfect that, like, you also get to decide, even within that plan, which way you want to go, because there's sub plans that like branch off, and I don't know. That blew my mind because it was so obvious when I started doing that kind of work.
It's amazing. It's like it's this big, again, I see a spider web for a lot of what I see because of one of my guides coming to me that way. And it does, I see like the strands and
Yeah.
well, she calls them filaments. So that's the word I use that
Yeah.
we're just all on. And there's so many there's a turn everywhere. When you think of a spider web, it's all these intricate, well-designed turns and straight lines, and some are sticky and some are not. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm just like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I just,
Yeah.
yes,
So I
wow,
do want to tell you one thing based on what you said. So like
yes,
you are a very planned person. So like if you do not have stability, you're not okay.
yep,
So like that really is something that uh, like I know you based on your numbers, okay? You're never going to take away your stability to
right,
jump into some risky thing. You're never ever going to do that. So if anyone around you ever thinks you're going to, if they're ever under any delusion, you will never ever do that. You will never give
right,
up the stable thing for the risky thing. But what you will do is you will extend yourself into that risky thing until it becomes stable. So as long as you can make it stable, then you would do that, but you're never someone that would give up your job and go jump into a new business, like,
right,
because you would have to know that the ground is under your feet and that a net is going to catch you, and you are the one that sets up that net. So, you know,
Right.
so you would make sure of that first. So you're a good person to partner with, because you would always be the stable force. Um,
In a lot of my relationships, that's
but
that's what I
but
am.
I will also say you're a very annoying person to partner with for somebody like me who jumps and thinks later,
Right.
because I hate being held accountable to things. Even though I'm a very accountable person, I have very high integrity. I hate when people go, but you have to do this and you have to do that. And I'm like, I don't want to do anything that I have to do. Um,
Right.
so that is a little bit difficult, but
Yes.
then it makes up for it in the stability,
Right. And I mean, a life lesson for me is not telling people what to do, but giving them, if you like saying like my truth is,
yeah,
or my
yeah.
thought is, that kind of a thing. I had to learn that.
I was gonna say that's one of your struggles is
Yeah.
that you have a controlling nature, and it's not because you want to control other people. It's because you actually know the better way, and because you have
Oh,
spent.
people don't know that.
No, they don't. They know that later. They don't usually know that in the moment. So,
Yeah.
the thing is though, it's like you hold yourself in such a high standard of integrity, and you have a real problem when people don't do that. So like when there's somebody that you're working with that does not hold themselves in a high integrity, you can get bossy because you're like, dude, get it together, like this is so simple, and it almost feels like not worth your time. And so you do tend to be somebody that would walk away rather than dealing with any nonsense.
Oh, I've left jobs for stuff like that. Yeah.
And just so you know, Roni, what I know about you, you have the same
Ronnie.
structure as her. So like you are that person too. Um,
Well, except for that, I am definitely the person like you, Tammy, who will
yeah,
totally jump. I
yeah,
love leaps of faith.
You
That's
yeah,
do
how
jump. Yeah.
that's how we got here, is
Yeah.
I took a leap of faith.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So
said,
I'm
"Are you sure?"
And I
So
said, I'm
then
gonna
we
figure it out as we go. I
Yep.
I will I have so much trust
yeah,
if I could just get the human side to get on board with that. I sometimes feel like, people like us who are so spiritual, we know all these things on the spiritual world and we know how everything goes. And then we still have this human component of the programs and all the things, right? And I like proving to myself to let go of the programs.
yeah, yeah,
It's just in the interim when I'm actually going through that.
mm,
Oh, that's the tough part.
yeah.
That's the part that gets really
Well, it's
challenging.
hard to hold faith even though you know the truth. It's like you know the truth so
Exactly.
solidly that it's very obvious it's true to you and everyone else. Um, but when you're going through like the trials of it, like the struggle of it, the hard parts of it, you're like, well, maybe I'm just all wrong. Like maybe I don't know anything. Like maybe everything that I believe is some delusion that I've created, like something I've told myself
Mm.
is real.
Yeah.
That's the spiral that I go in.
Yes.
I believe all these things that are really out there, but I really do solidly believe them.
Mhm.
Um, but then like when I'm going through really hard times, I go, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm actually crazy and everybody's just like kind of like condoning that behavior somehow. Maybe they're just
Yeah.
yesing me or something. But that's a normal cycle to go through because we are human and we are flawed, and we can't actually reach perfection in this life, like that's not a thing. That's just not possible. And so both of you actually have numbers where you're trying all the time to be perfect. And it's not like you're really trying to be perfect. You understand you can't be. It's just that you have this nature that like constantly is like, but let's get it right, like let's put it in order and get it right. And the
Let's
truth,
do better, do better, do better,
every
do better.
single thing can't always be in order, and that's hard to accept. when you have that like perfectionist kind of thing, you know, because I have that too. And I mean, I used to call myself an organization freak. My biggest dream when I moved into this house almost 13 years ago, I swear to you, this is the stupidest, weirdest dream, but this was my biggest dream. I was like, I am going to organize every part of this house. Like every single thing is going to be in a place where I know where it is. That was all I wanted. Do you think that ever even came close to happening? That's not a thing. You know, if there's anyone else involved, that can't even happen. You know, but just my brain alone can't make that happen either. Sorry, my phone is ringing.
It's
Um,
okay. No, I am like that too. I'm hopefully organized, but when I start, it's like, okay, I did the inside of a cupboard that nobody's ever going to see, but it's organized.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll do that for days. I
Yeah.
my ex used to say that I like to sort buttons, you know, because I would literally sit on the floor and sort every single thing and put it in, you know, boxes and cabinets and drawers and
Yep.
yeah,
It's
it's
so
really
interesting we're talking about this
interesting.
because of the current where I'm at, where I'm
Mhm.
staying currently, and the
Yeah.
dynamic that's happening here. I've
Mhm.
really been hit in the face with how much OCD and control I have. I'm like, I
Yeah.
wanna, I keep finding myself wanting to do things,
Yeah.
what not necessarily my way, but
Mhm.
yeah, my way.
The
You know
way
what I'm
that
saying?
the right way, right?
Well, I
The
mean,
only way that makes sense,
Yes.
that's,
obviously.
Yes. The
you
right way
know,
is always my way.
yeah, and I'm learning. It's been so interesting to learn how to let go of that, and I'm loving this. I'm like, this is really a good lesson for me. More letting go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, just let it go. And that has been really, really beneficial because, of course, we can take that and then start going, deeper with it. Because
Good.
that's always been a lesson of mine is learning how to let go of things. I think it's a lot of humans' lesson,
I mean,
learning how to let go of things.
I think that's why we have death, you know,
Yeah.
because what else would be the point? You know,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
like because if
Yeah.
we live forever anyway, what is the point of loss? The point of loss is to teach us how to let go of something that we thought was going to be there, you know, and now it can't be. So, or now it has to be there differently, which also happens, you know.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Which is
Yeah.
really cool actually. That's actually my favorite part of death is how the relationship changes then, you know.
Wow, this has
Wow.
been
Yeah.
absolutely spectacular, Tammy. I'm loving all this information.
Good.
Um,
Yeah, it's fun.
yeah, this has been a great one. I've
Yeah,
thoroughly enjoyed
good.
all of your information, and I'm
Good.
gonna leave it here. Would you be willing to come back?
Yeah.
We would love to host you again because you're so much fun, and I love
Yeah.
your yeah. Yeah,
Thank
let's have you back
My
maybe in a
favorite
couple.
thing. So I just love talking about things like this. So
Well,
it's
I appreciate the reading that you did. It's
Yeah, that was
insanely
good.
on track. So yes, two thumbs up. Yes.
Good. Good.
yeah, absolutely. Super. And
Yes.
coming from somebody who's worked with Deanna in the spiritual world, because of course I'm a what I call a transformational therapist.
Mhm.
Um, and I do that through quantum hypnotherapy.
Mhm.
So
Nice.
she was my favorite story to tell about how Deanna and I met is she was actually my case study when I was going through I think you went through it as well, the SCHH program? No?
Me?
Yeah.
Me? Or oh no,
Yes.
I didn't.
No, okay. That was somebody else. My apologies. Um, but yeah, so when I was going through my SCHH training, she was actually my case study right after
Oh,
the
nice.
QH, well, not
Awesome.
right after, but you know,
Huh.
and so we got to know each other very deeply because
Mhm.
A lot of stuff happened.
so much stuff, and because we worked together over months and months, we did a lot of sessions together.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
so I can confirm as well everything that you said. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. That's why I
Well,
was just,
hopefully that's
mhm,
good.
mhm. Oh,
Yes.
it's all
It's all
great.
good.
It's a wonderful. It's so good. Um, it's amazing. It's amazing. She's a very unique individual.
Mhm.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
That
I can
I
see that.
appreciate so much. That's why she's my co-host. I mean, like, I had this idea, we talked about it. Her guides are the one who said, "Let's do it." And I was like, "Well, you got to do it with me because it
Yeah.
came from your guides. This is all because of you." And through all of this, I said, "So you have to do it with me. That's not even an
Mhm.
option." She's like, "Okay." So it's been phenomenal. It's been so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
It's been really
So,
great.
shall we wrap up for now?
Yeah, yeah.
And we'll do a
Tammy,
part
thank
two.
you so much
Yes.
for being here. Does anybody have any shout outs?
Um, Shout out, yes, to all of the wonderful people who are walking the path with me, because
Aw.
this is a group effort as we walk the path towards ascension and the great whatever comes after, which
Yeah.
I am firmly believing is going to be good because that's the path I'm on. So to
I
everybody
believe it's
walking the
going to be
path,
good too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I did. Yeah, we can talk all about that next time because I got a lot of
Yeah.
thoughts on that. But
Ooh, maybe
yes,
that's what we'll talk about next time is the walking the
remind
path.
me because I won't remember that I said that. But thank you, Tammy, so much
Okay.
for coming.
Yeah.
And if you have any shout outs, or Ronnie, if you have any shout outs,
Joseph and David, love you so much. Thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you to Kim for recommending me. Okay.
Kim,
yes,
yes.
Kim, yes,
That
Kim.
was nice. She got us together, so I'm glad that she did that.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
really nice of her. So,
That's a
yes,
great one. Thank you for that remind.
yeah.
Thank you.
And I
Yeah.
will
yes,
DM her later.
yes. No,
So,
no coincidences here, I don't think.
no, I don't believe
Um,
in coincidences.
so we will put all of your contact info
Okay.
in our show notes so people can find you. Um,
Yes.
and as always, speaking to our wonderful watchers and or listeners, thank you for listening and or watching. Um, please ask us questions. We will answer them. Please feel free to comment. Please feel free to leave your thoughts. And if you out there feel that you have something that you would like to share, hit us up. We'll get you on the show. So, as always, we're going to leave with be blessed and be blissed. And we will see you again.
Thank you, everyone. Tammy, thank you again so much for being here. We really appreciate you. Bye, everyone.